So stay fit, right?
Stay fit. That's easy. We always talk about that. But more importantly, stay balanced.
So we talk all the time about being physically fit, right? We do PT every morning. It's part of our ethos. It's something we do each and every day.
But you've got to have balance in your life too.
So mentally, you've got to have somebody you can go to, somebody that you can download to. Most of you, I will wager, will be married at some point in your lives if you aren't now. So your spouse will serve that role for you. But even if you're not,
a family member,
a friend, somebody that you can dialogue with. Ground yourself socially. Make sure that you don't spend all of your time at the office. Make sure that you don't spend all of your time within yourself. Get out there and be part of the social fabric in the environment. Ground yourself spiritually, right? Whatever that means for you, whatever it is that helps you be right in your heart, find that thing, cling to it, use it, and make sure that you practice it, okay? And then what you've got to do is you've got to balance all of those things across your life, okay? All those components, mental, physical, spiritual, psychological, family, and social. Make sure that you are a well-balanced person. And if you do that, the people that work for you will emulate that behavior. They will do what you do. If you are at the office until 2100 every night because you're single and you just as soon be there and be working because you're hardcore and sergeant, guess who else is going to be there until 2100? Your platoon sergeant or your section sergeants, or later on in command, your first sergeant or your battalion staff. Think about your people, okay? Maybe you've got things to do, but chances are you probably need to put down the work at about 1800 and go home. Unless you're deployed downrange, you've got soldiers in harm's way, something like that. That's a little bit different. But if it's just you doing your job day to day, that last email can probably wait until tomorrow. That item in your inbox can probably wait until tomorrow. Balance yourself. So first and foremost, it's not about you. Somebody said that, it was General Smith or General Crawford, I can't remember. It's not about you. Remember that each and every day it's not about you. So if you start the day thinking that, it's not about you, it's about the men and women that you are supporting that may work under you, but you're still supporting them, that's going to be critical. The other thing is, the more senior you become, the harder it gets because you're going to receive more deference, as you get more senior. So you look at all the generals here. I mean, somebody like General West, who's the Surgeon General of the Army, she's got 2 or 3 people from her personal staff here because she's got to be able to respond to significant issues across the breadth of the Army, just like that. The Chief of Staff might call her at lunch, or the Secretary of the Army, or somebody on the Joint Staff. But that deference of having these people who are serving you personally, you got to remember, they're not there for you, they're there for your position. And the same thing occurs when you're a company commander and you've got a driver or a battalion commander and you've got your own sergeant major for the first time. These people are going to defer to you because you're the commander, but at the end of the day, what you do is for the soldiers. So that's the way I would govern myself. It ain't about you. So I tried to listen a lot. I tried to conduct myself with humility. I wasn't good at that when I was a young officer. I would consider myself kind of a cocky company grade officer because I performed pretty well in my peer group, and I kind of thought it was about me, and it wasn't. What I found as a company commander was, after I was kind of picked out and identified as kind of the lead company commander in my battalion, and I started to look at the units on my left and right, I was like, I could have done something to make them better. I could have helped out my brother company commander here and helped his unit rise a little bit better. I could have shared some of my pilot expertise from my warrant officers that I had a really good group of guys that could have made us all better. It's about making the team better. So we go out there and we evaluate our officers and our NCOs on this individual achievement scale. Okay, whether we've got that right or wrong is neither here nor there. It's how we set promotion, right? We judge potential for the future based on performance from the past, and you get an evaluation report. And that evaluation report will talk about what it is you're doing well, what you need to improve on, and how you're doing generally in the aggregate. How are you doing in that group of people you're being compared against? But I think the thing that people don't realize is you don't have to have the best company to be the best company commander. You can be the best company commander, the best platoon leader, the best battalion commander, and still not have necessarily the unit that's winning all the streamers, because what you're doing is you're bringing up the rest of the team with you. And your senior leaders will notice that. They will figure out who the spotlight rangers are in the formation, the me people, and they will figure out who is a good team player and who's working. So I would say listen, Try to be a good team player. Build communities of interest within your peer group. You know, don't be a stranger from your fellow platoon leaders and company commanders. Go drink a beer with them or a coffee or whatever it is that you like to do. Get to know each other. Talk about the commonalities. Talk about the things you can do better. So we all have a responsibility to spot correct something when we see that it's wrong, right? So it doesn't matter if you're an E1 or an O10, which is a 4-star. If you see something wrong, you should correct it. That is our ethos. That is what we do in the Army. With regards to someone in your platoon, though, I think when you see misbehavior and it's not a spot correction, what you need to do is coordinate with your platoon sergeant. So optimally, you and your platoon sergeant will be having a discussion with a soldier who's not doing the right thing. And I go one step further and say, if it's a soldier at the lowest level, power down to that lowest level supervisor. Make them responsible for that leadership. One of the hardest things you'll find as a young officer is helping your E4s, your specialists, and your corporals transition to E5. Even though we recognize corporals as junior NCOs, the real transition to an NCO comes at the E5 level. And it's hard to get the kid who was hanging out with his buddies in the barracks yesterday, who just pinned on E5, to now be the sergeant, put his foot in their butt when they're not doing the right thing. The way you can help them do that is you give them ownership of that. Don't take that burden off of them at the platoon level as a platoon leader or platoon sergeant. Bring that section sergeant in and go, I need to talk to you about Private Smith, because he ain't getting it done, and you know he ain't getting it done. So what are you going to do about it, Sergeant? You've got to help groom those NCOs, and your platoon sergeant will help you with that.